In the beginning, before the first pharaoh, before the pyramids, the gods themselves ruled the land of Egypt.
They were the perfect pair. Order and wisdom. King and queen.
He was the brother of Osiris, and he hated him.
This was the Zep Tepi, the first time. A golden age when the divine walked among mortals. Osiris was praised. Osiris was beloved. Set was feared.
The greatest of these god-kings was Osiris, the benevolent one, the giver of life.
From this union, a son was born, the jackal god, Anubis.
He came to the people of the Nile Valley when they were wild, savage, and practiced cannibalism. And he would use his brother's greatest strength, his trusting, noble nature, against him.
Osiris looked at them with pity, and he taught them. He taught them agriculture.
Another was too broad. One by one, they all failed.
He taught them how to brew beer, how to bake bread, how to cultivate the vine.
Osiris, my king, my brother, you have not tried. Surely it was made for you.
He gave them laws. He gave them music. He gave them civilization itself. Under his rule, Egypt became a paradise. The land was fertile, the people are happy, and Osiris was beloved by all.
Nonsense, my love. It is a game. Look how beautiful it is.
By his side ruled his sister wife, the brilliant and magical Isis, goddess of the throne.
He lay down inside it. The camera shot is from above. It was a perfect fit.
The 72 conspirators lunged. They slammed the heavy lid down.
But where there is fertile, black land, there is always the harsh, red desert.
And this wild, untamable land also had a god.
Isis screamed, held back by the traitors!
Set, the lord of the Red Land, god of chaos, storms, and the desert.
Set! Brother! Let me out!
The pounding grew weaker, and then silence.
Their rivalry began before birth. Osiris was the firstborn, the rightful heir.
Get it out of my sight!
But Set's cruelty was not finished. He needed to erase his brother from the land.
The queen, heartbroken but not broken, fled into the dark papyrus swamps.
Set, violent and impatient, tore himself from his mother's womb, refusing to be born second.
While Osiris would given the fertile black land to rule, Set was given the useless red land.
The coffin of Osiris floated out of the Nile into the Great Sea. It was carried far from Egypt, lost to the world.
Các con có thấy một chiếc dương vàng trôi qua đây không?
Even Set's own wife, Nephthys, admired her brother Osiris more.
One legend, dark and complex, tells that Nephthys, desperate for a child, it washed ashore, coming to rest against a tiny, young tamarisk tree.
disguised herself as Isis and seduced the unsuspecting Osiris.
The king of Byblos, Malkander, saw this marvel. He ordered the great tree cut down.
When Set discovered this betrayal, his jealousy was no longer a quiet resentment. It became a cold, calculating, murderous rage.
But Isis...
He has everything. The land, the love, the air.
Feel the divine breath, child.
If I cannot be him, I will destroy him. I will take it all back. I will tear the green from his land, just as he tore his way from our mother.
Who did this? She summoned the strange woman.
But Osiris was a god. He couldn't just be stabbed. The murder had to be a ritual.
He gathered his allies, 72 conspirators, lesser gods who also envied the perfect king.
My son, my poor, sweet boy.
Isis agreed. This was her chance. She could stay close to the pillar, close to Osiris.
He needed a plan, a trick.
Instead, in secret, she would let the infant suckle her divine finger. The child grew strong.
The plot began in secret. Set obtained the exact measurements of his brother's body.
She began a secret ritual. Each night, she would seal the great hall.
He then commissioned a magnificent chest.
A sarcophagus.
It was the most beautiful object ever created, inlaid with all the treasures of the world.
She would then transform into a swallow, flying around the great pillar, weeping for her lost husband.
But it was built with one dark, hidden specification. It was tailored to fit only Osiris.
With his trap built, Set announced a magnificent feast in his brother's honor.
My son!
Đồ ngốc! Bà đã phá hỏng nó. Ta đang ban cho nó sự bất tử. Bây giờ, nó sẽ chỉ là một người phàm.
The trusting Osiris, seeing this as a sign of reconciliation, arrived with joy.
Isis pointed to the great pillar. Give me back what belongs to me! My husband is inside that column!
Set smiled, his heart black with murder. The 72 conspirators were all in attendance.
Isis let out a wail, a sound of such grief and relief. It was said to have killed the king's attendants.
Then, at the height of the party, Set clapped his hands. The beautiful chest was brought into the hall.
The ship of Isis arrived in Egypt in secret. She hid the chest in a thick and dark papyrus swamp in the Nile Delta.
What is this, brother? A gift.
But she was Isis, great of magic. She knew her duty. Osiris must have an heir.
A game. This magnificent chest. It is priceless. And I will give it to whichever one of you fits inside it most perfectly.
And in that one magical moment, she conceived his child.
The guests, laughing and drunk, thought it a fine game. One by one, they tried.
The first was too tall.
Her magic complete, Isis hid the coffin once more, even deeper in the swamp.
The next was too short.
She is still alive. I know it.
She gave birth to a son, a small, weak child, but with the eyes of a king. She named him Horus.
The conspirators tried, and they all failed. Finally, Set turned to his brother.
Isis's life now became one of constant fear, hiding her son from Set's spies, from the snakes, and from the scorpions.
Isis, the wise, suddenly felt a cold dread. My husband, no! It is a trick.
Stop your boat, O Ra. The world in dark. The air is dead.
The poison was drawn out. Horus breathed. He lived. Isis had saved him. Her son safe, Isis returned to her first task, to guard the body of her husband and prepare it for a proper burial.
Wanting to please his brother and win the beautiful prize, Osiris stepped towards the chest.
He was hunting boar in the very swamp where Isis had hidden her secret.
It seems you are right, brother. It fits me perfectly.
He froze. He knew instantly what it was.
He tore the lid from the chest with his bare hands.
Now!
The sight of that perfect, noble face drove Set into a final, horrific madness.
He began to cut. He cut the corpse of Osiris.
A boom! The trap was sprung.
And he took the pieces, and he scattered them, one by one, up and down the length of the Nile, hiding them forever.
But he had underestimated the love of a goddess. Isis returned. She found the chest, empty, smashed. Her grief was so powerful, it summoned her sister, Nephthys, who had finally abandoned her monstrous husband, Set.
Set, in a rage, hammered the lid shut with giant spikes. Wherever a piece had fallen, a temple would one day be built. They found his arm, his leg, his head.
They poured molten lead into every crack, sealing it airtight.
But the 14th piece, the phallus, his symbol of fertility and kingship, was gone.
It was lost forever. Osiris could never be truly whole again. The god of life was dead, murdered in the most cowardly way imaginable.
Isis, refusing to accept this, fashioned a golden and wax, or pure magic, replacement penis.
He ordered his conspirators to take the chest.
And they carried it, under cover of darkness, to the banks of the Nile.
Anubis, loyal to his true father, came. He saw the butchered god, and he knew what must be done.
With a final curse, they hurled the sarcophagus into the dark, flowing water.
He took long strips of linen, and he bound the 14 pieces together, joining arm to torso, head to neck. The chest, now a coffin, was carried away by the river, a dark secret, floating to the sea. Set returned to the palace. He seized the empty throne. He declared himself the new king.
A new age began.
Osiris sat up. He was alive, but he was no longer of the living.
But Set had forgotten one thing. He had not killed Isis. Farewell, my love.
A new kingdom awaits me. One that needs a ruler.
Into the Duat, into the underworld.
She had one purpose: to find the body of her lost husband.
And to protect the secret she now carried. The unborn son of Osiris. Isis was left alone in the living world. Her husband was safe. Now, it was time for her son. Her quest had begun. But the sea had already carried the body of the king far, far away. He was strong, fast, and filled with a divine purpose. He was the son of Osiris.
Vijata! The throne is mine by right of inheritance, Horus declared. Give back what you have stolen.
Back in Egypt, Isis began her impossible search. Disguised as a commoner, she wept, her heart broken.
The gods were divided. For 80 years they argued. 80 years of legal battles, of tricks, and of brutal contests.
They held a boat race, where Horus tricked Set into sinking his own stone boat.
Finally, a group of children, playing by the water, told her they had seen a great chest.
He reached out, and he tore out Horus's left eye.
Thoth, the god of wisdom, found the fragments of the eye.
Finally, the gods, wary of the chaos, agreed to write a letter to the king of the dead himself. And a miracle occurred. The tree, feeding on the divine presence within the chest, began to grow.
Osiris's reply echoed from the underworld, filled with cold, royal authority.
And remember, all of you, every god, will one day come to my kingdom, and I will be your judge.
It became the largest, most magnificent, and sweetest-smelling tree in all the world.
No.
Order, Ma'at, was restored. The green land flourished once more.
Unaware of the divine secret hidden inside its heartwood. Horus, now king, had one final act. He took his own healed eye, the Wedjat.
Father, eat this.
And so, the cosmic order was set and would defoon Egypt for 3,000 years.
Osiris, the great god, was now entombed inside a pillar.
Horus, the present, the great king of the living who protects the land. And when that pharaoh died, he did not die. He became Osiris, that what was broken could be made whole again.
The handmaidens of Queen Astarte came to the well, and they were drawn to her. When they returned to the palace, the queen was astonished by their divine scent. Isis was brought before the queen. She remained silent, the picture of humble grief. Narration. Impressed by Isis' solemn grace, the queen made an offer.
Hãy ở lại.
Hãy làm vú nuôi cho con trai ta. Isis took care of the child, but she did not give him milk. Instead, at night, alone, in that instant, Isis dropped her disguise. She rose.
Xin hãy tha thứ cho chúng tôi, thưa nữ thần.
The king immediately ordered the pillar cut open, and there, inside, was the golden chest.
The king gave her his finest ship. Isis, the chest, and the spirit of her husband.
She knew Set, the new king, would destroy it if he found it.
For the first time, she saw the body of her murdered husband. She wept and kissed his cold face.
She transformed once more into a bird.
Her mission now was to survive.
Hidden on a floating island of reeds, Isis went into labor.
The true heir. The Avenger. The greatest threat to Set's rule.
One night, while she was away, a magical scorpion, sent by Set, found the child.
Thoth. Ra.
Ra, hearing her, stopped the sun in the sky. He sent Thoth, the god of wisdom, who spoke the words of power. She knew she could not raise Horus safely. She gave the boy to Thoth and the other gods to be raised in a secret place.
But one night, Set, the god of chaos, went hunting.
And in the moonlight, his foot struck something hard. A golden chest, hidden in the reeds.
He is back. Even in Del, he defies me.
Ngươi sẽ không bao giờ được toàn vẹn.
He dismembered his brother's body into 14 pieces.
He was gone. Not just dead, erased, scattered.
A wail of ultimate despair tore from her throat. She understood Set's final, horrific act.
My sister, forgive me. I will help you. We will find him. We will make him whole.
Set had thrown it into the river, where it was immediately devoured by an oxyrhynchus fish.
Heartbroken, Isis and Nephthys laid the 13 pieces out, arranging them in his shape. She attached it to his body. Now, ritually, he was complete. She called upon Anubis, the jackal god, her husband's illegitimate son, the god of embalming.
Together, Isis, Nephthys, and Anubis performed the very first embalming.
And most importantly, they began to wrap. They took long strips of linen and
wrapping and wrapping until the broken god was made whole again. The first mummy.
She breathed her magic into the mummy. The mummy's eyes opened. They are not alive, but they see.
Because he was incomplete, he could not rule the world of the living.
Ta phải đi. Nhưng ta sẽ không đi xa.
He turned and walked west towards the setting sun and descended. He became the king of the dead, the righteous judge, the promise of resurrection for all Egyptians. Years passed. In the secret swamps, Horus, the hidden child, grew to manhood.
The time had come. Isis brought him forth.
My son, she said, the throne is yours. You must take it back. The great war began. Not just a war of swords, but a war of law. Horus challenged set before the council of the gods.
Ngươi, một đứa trẻ. Ngai vàng thuộc về kẻ mạnh nhất. Và đó là ta.
They battled as hippos, trying to hold their breath underwater for 3 days.
The war became brutal.
Horus, now whole again, was stronger. But the war was a stalemate. Osiris, they asked, who should rule in your place? Your strong brother or your weak son?
Why do you deprive my son of his rights? Will you let the murderer of his brother sit on my throne?
The threat was clear.
The gods, afraid, quickly agreed.
The judgment was final.
And Horus, son of Osiris, was brought to the throne. He was crowned king of Upper and Lower Egypt.
As for Set, his chaos was given purpose. He was forced to serve Ra.
And he traveled to the underworld. He found his father, Osiris, on his throne. Osiris ate it. And in that moment, the eye's magic made him whole again. Osiris, the past, the great king of the dead, who rules the afterlife.
And every pharaoh who ever ruled was seen as the living incarnation of Horus. The myth was the promise that through ritual, magic, and loyalty, even death could be overcome.